Hi, I'm Jen King, and I'm here to show you how to DIY our rock and roll Stevie jackets to make them even more rock and roll and even more you. The Stevie jackets that I chose to DIY today are the satin, the suede, and the pleather. And I have some fun elements to add some pizzazz to these to make them even more unique and special and give them your personal flair. So today we have some patches which can be ironed on or glued on. We have some really fun studs to give them some sparkle and some edge. And I am very obsessed with fringe. Fringe is always a good idea. You don't have to be super crafty to do this. All you need is some fun ideas, which you can always go online and get inspo, and your supplies. Let's start off with the suede Stevie. I thought that this fabric would be really fun to add on some little metallic studs and give it some kind of cool rock and roll edge. And these are really cool because they just pop right on, and then you just have to bend the little grommets. And you can kind of decide if you want to do a design or write something. But I thought I would kind of go along the edge of the shoulder hemline and around the collar. And I would also repeat it on the back. You can go down the sleeves. You can really have a lot of fun with this. The second fabric I'm going to work with today is the satin. I love this because it has such a fun sheen and shine to it. And I thought it would be perfect for adding some patches too. So you can really get crazy with your patches. You don't have to do a design. You don't have to do them all at once. You can add them as you go. Sometimes you can pick these up at concerts, but of course craft stores. And I have 3, so I'm gonna do kind of a symmetrical design. And I'm gonna have the tiger in the center of the back, and I'm gonna put the lightning bolts on the sides. You could also do sleeves. And like I said, just add them as you get them. There doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason to where you place them. Some patches can be ironed on, but today I'm going to be using fabric glue. So I'm just gonna go around the edges of the patch, not too close because you don't want the glue to ooze out. And then I'm gonna put a little bit down the middle of the patch, and I'm gonna place it right where I decided. And then you're gonna hold it and push down on it for as long as your glue says. So I'm gonna let that dry. I can't wait to show it to you. And now for my favorite. We are going to be adding some pleather fringe to our pleather Stevie. Now there's a lot of places you can add fringe, but my favorite is along where a back yoke would be. So right about there. And this can be glued, but I'm gonna prefer to sew it on with just a simple stitch down. It's gonna be really easy to do that. Now I'm gonna use some pins to secure the fringe in place. So if you're a perfectionist, feel free to get out the measuring tape and line everything up perfectly. I'm just kind of going rock and roll style and just eyeballing it, but I'm gonna put a pin on one end, a pin on the other end, and then work my way to the middle to make sure it stays even. If you've never used a sewing machine before, you can totally stitch this by hand with a needle and thread. I'm gonna be using my sewing machine, and so as I sew down the top of the strip of the fringe, I'll just remove the pins, and I'm just running through with a simple stitch. Thank you so much for following along with us as we DIY'd our jackets. I hope you have a lot of fun adding some pizzazz to yours. We would love to see the Stevies that you DIY, so make sure to hashtag LuLaRoe Stevie.